Welcome back to the Midweek Update.
Hey Mepham, welcome back to this week's Midweek Update.
Today, let's take a look at how the school year has gone for online learners and what the thoughts of some senior athletes are about going to college in the fall.
This and more as we take a look at what's going on this week on Midweek Update. I'm Haley Hepworth.
And I'm Hannah Broxmeyer, and welcome back to the Midweek Update, the B&B show that brings you closer to the people and places in and around the Mepham community.
I'm glad I made it back into school in time for this week's episode. We almost had to have Rob and Bickom host.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. So, you were learning from home these past few days, right? How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good, but I'm definitely glad to be back in person. It got annoying sometimes.
It can definitely take some getting used to, but some students who have been doing it for a while now have started to get the hang of this new way of learning.
Definitely. B&B's Sean McQuillan actually got to speak with some remote students and their teachers about how they're handling this situation.
Because I don't feel that I think there's just full attention there.
Finnegan Corcoran-Doolin is a full remote learner at Mepham High School.
I've been in remote learning since the beginning of the school year.
Educators have been teaching both in-school learners and remote learners during these challenging times, especially for those students stuck on the computer for over 6 hours daily. Their education during this pandemic has been only one of the toughest challenges so far.
Yes, I do think it's very difficult for remote learners. They are stuck behind the screen. We as the teacher have to pay attention and make sure that if they do have a question that we, notice that they had the question. And it's very difficult to hear when you're home and things are going on in your classroom.
According to staff members, it is difficult for remote learners like Finn to cope with such a testing task at hand. But what do they really think?
It's definitely been challenging, especially with all the distractions that are on my desk. You guys can't see them, but there are a lot. I've been able to pay attention because I honestly just have a motivation to do good work, and I want to make sure that I still do good work and the same amount of good work as I possibly can.
I don't think it's too challenging. I think at the start it was. But I think throughout, not only have the students been teaching, but I think the teachers have, because I think it's gotten better along the way.
Although it is not as hard for remote learners as most would believe, those who have been taking part in virtual learning still miss those personal interactions every day. Recently, there have been remote days almost every week due to a recent spike in cases of COVID-19. The real question is, do these days help?
I know I enjoy having the remote days because I have all of my students. I can get to see all of their faces. We can work together as a group. I can ask one question, everyone hears me. Someone can answer the question and everyone hears them. We could do breakout rooms where we could do groups where people that were home can now work alongside and have conversations with students that were just in the room before.
Yes, honestly, they do. Especially with some of the classes where there are people who are very outgoing and very talkative.
There's no, it's full attention to every virtual student by that point. So I feel, without a doubt, I think maybe I feel a little bit more comfortable by that point.
The district should keep assigning these remote days because they are helping teachers and students not only cope with the current situation, but helping to adjust to the difficult one in remote learning. For B&B, I'm Sean McQuillan.
Thanks, Sean. Although some things students and teachers haven't experienced before, it seems like they're doing a great job of getting used to the new remote learning as much as we can.
Yeah, but as much as we're making the best of it, I'm still hoping less and less people get quarantined as time goes on.
Right. Since people are contact traced, it's affected more than just the classroom. The sports season has been going on for the past month, but positive tests and quarantines have had a big impact on some seasons.
With athletes in the district, especially seniors, hoping to play as much of their sports as possible this year, it's definitely important for people to keep following safety guidelines, and hopefully we can have less positive cases affect sports and everything else.
And speaking of senior athletes, many of them are starting to commit to colleges next fall. B&B's Rob Caminiti spoke to some of them about their thoughts on the new year.
Majority of high school seniors are moving on to college. Many have mixed emotions about the challenges and new experiences they will face. Choosing a school is not an easy task. There are many things to look at, and all schools give a different level of learning experience for one's major.
I guess not being able to have my home friends who I became really close with, not having them, and being in a little fish in a big pond.
As a college athlete, I'm kind of nervous that I'm going to be unprepared or, not be able to hang with the seniors on the team. So obviously that's a worry that I have with the weightlifting and training more than I do usually.
Some fears I had going into college was being far away from my family and not being with my group of friends since Grand, and being all alone and making new friends.
These seniors may not be the only ones who have these fears, but life on campus isn't all that scary.
I'm really excited to go to a new town. Tulane is in New Orleans, so I'm excited to learn about the new culture and spend some time out of New York. But I'm also really excited to make new friends and teammates because I've been surrounded with the same people on my teams and stuff throughout the past couple of years. So I'm excited to make new friends at Tulane and have new teammates.
I've prepared a little bit. I have made Facebook pages to try and meet new roommates and stuff like that, but I am not fully prepared to, commit to a college yet. I have not been able to visit because of COVID-19. I have not been able to visit any schools, and that's kind of hard.
Getting involved in college really helped. I met my roommate a couple times before. I knew a lot of friends going in beforehand that I met up with, so having some people I knew and was familiar with helped a lot.
For B&B, I'm Rob Caminiti.
Thanks, Rob. I'm glad to see that this year's modified sports seasons aren't stopping some athletes in the district from continuing to play in college.
Hopefully, sports will keep going for the rest of the year, and the seniors will get to play with their teams before they leave for college. For more on that, B&B's Matt Manno has the latest news in sports.
Connor's got the week off, so I'm sitting in with the midweek version of the Fast Minute in Sports. Now, we don't have a clock here, but you can start your own at home. We're in between seasons here at Mepham after we wrapped up a successful, albeit short winter sports season that saw our boys varsity basketball team go 6-2 and the girls go 5-3 in their respective conferences. And the district bowling team took home the county championship. The fall sports season started earlier this week as we prepare for football, soccer, volleyball, and cross country, among others, in March. It's a strange world we live in. Football in March and me running cross country. Weird. Speaking of March sports, B&B kicks off our sports coverage a week from Saturday when the football team takes on Calhoun here at home. You'll also see our cameras at a pair of soccer games later on this month. And in NFL news, according to himself, 3 times Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt is heading to the desert to play for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, you would have looked so much better in Patriots blue, but it's okay. In NBA news, tune into the All-Star game this Saturday to watch New York Knicks Julius Randle and Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving and James Harden. Now this has been your midweek week in Mepham Sports. I'm Matt Manno, and I'll see you on the next B&B Sports Talk on March 19th with me, Tom, and Lily. Now back to Haley and Hannah in the studio.
Thanks, Matt. Be sure to stay tuned to the B&B YouTube channel in the coming weeks to catch some of our coverage of the games.
Also, don't miss our Year in Remembrance special airing on March 14th.
If you didn't see the trailer, you should go back and check it out on last week's Midweek Update.
Definitely. Well, that's it for this week's Midweek Update. We'll be back next week with all new stories from around the BMCHSD to bring you inside the parts of the community we don't always get to see.
Until then, I'm Haley Hepworth.
And I'm Hannah Broxmeyer, and we'll see you all next midweek.
Yo, peace out, Girl Scouts. Apparently we have SD has 000, so
Does we have a following?
This probably ain't gonna be recorded on. I don't even know where my mic is. But this is for you people. This is just an idea, man. This is just an idea.
We're hosting next
In the heart!
Watch us host. We guarantee we'll be.
No, don't tell them, don't tell them.
Wait, are they
Just say be surprised for next week.
Remember to watch next week's Midweek Update when nothing interesting happens.